KRFP is supported by Buy Local Moscow, representing Moscow's independent business community and helping to strengthen Moscow's economy. On the web at www.buylocalmoscow.com. KRFP thanks all of its donors and underwriters for helping make this programming possible.
You're listening to KRFP 90.3. We Are Prosers, a literary talk show featuring students from the MFA program in creative writing at the University of Idaho. I am Jason.
Catherine here.
Ross.
So what we do here is, for the first half-hour show, we're going to have a little conversational jam session with me, Ross, and Catherine.
Woohoo!
And then after that, coming up at 8 p.m., we have first-year fiction student Sally Yazwinski coming into the studio to
Woohoo! I'm excited about that.
To read
Continue.
some of her poetry and hang out for a bit. So, with that said, we're going to shoot it over to Ross.
All right, so I was walking the other day. I was leaving campus, so I was gonna, I don't know the street, but I was headed towards Patty's.
6th Street.
Yeah.
I can see it in my mind.
And so
2-lane.
Patty's is the new place that just opened, right?
No.
For the season.
For the season, though.
Yes,
All right,
yes.
yes. All right.
And so I'm at the light, and it turns, walk, and the guy's taking a right, and he comes out. And
so he's in a car. The guy's in a car.
Yeah, he's in a car, and he comes out, takes his right, and stops, so I can go. And I just stood there for a couple of minutes, and then I flipped this guy off.
Oh, whoa. Wait, but, okay. But because he was going to hit you. Was that
Well,
what it
he
felt
came
like?
out and startled me out of my thoughts, and I decided that I was going to piss this guy off. So I flipped him off, and then he honks at me, and then he seriously almost runs me over. And then I pounded my chest at him as he drove away.
Wow, what a confrontation.
Did you really pound your chest?
I did. I pounded my chest. I was like, ah, ah. But he didn't come back. They never do. Every time. But it's like cars versus pedestrians. And I'm thinking about all the times that, just being a walking guy.
I feel like pedestrians can be pretty ballsy in this town and get away with it.
Yeah, but if a car hits a pedestrian,
So you're on the side of the pedestrian
yeah,
versus the car.
yeah.
So you obviously, I'm typically for the cars because I typically run into lazy pedestrians, people who take a long time to walk across the crosswalk.
Oh, older?
No, 15-year-old kids.
No, yeah.
Or-
I guess that does.
I'm into partnership between pedestrian and car. A real nice eye contact, nod, everybody's aware, agreement, nod, go.
So you're like the Charles Xavier of pedestrian / driver.
I don't know who that is, but yes.
You've never seen the X-Men movies?
No.
Oh, man.
But I like that character. I feel like we'd get along.
Yeah.
Who wouldn't get along with Patrick Stewart?
Patrick, yeah. So anyway, you basically were in the right for this situation, right?
No, probably not.
All right.
No, I was, except for my overreaction. And
But it was, it was, okay. It was the walk sign. You're in your head, you're feeling groovy. You're going to take it. You don't need to look. I can see that.
And he was turning right.
yeah.
All right,
So he was going to hit me.
Yeah.
And then he actually tried to hit me because I flipped him off.
Yeah, that's a situation where you were obviously in the right. So, but there's a war going on with pedestrians and vehicles.
In this town, I feel like especially because I feel like they're almost equal in power here. Pedestrians have a lot of power here. Tons of crosswalks
yeah.
over really busy streets.
That's true. It's nice, actually.
I was
It's
writing.
nice. I don't see. I'm not. I don't think it's so nice. I think it's like It's like I see every human as like Frogger. All right. It's like
Frogger?
Jump at your own risk. It's like you're dealing with cars here. They're coming and going, and deal with it.
See, back in Boise, Idaho, where I used to live, that's what it was like every day. Like I would ride my bike to work, and it was like I was lucky to make it home. Like people's goal was to turn me into street pizza.
I do. When I'm in my car, though, there's nothing I love better than like a pedestrian or a cyclist who knows their place. And is going to stay out of the way. You get really ballsy ones. And it's like, come on. Like, I'm a big car. Watch out.
I think it comes down to like being entitled. Like how entitled you think you are as the pedestrian compared to how entitled you are with the car, and just the entitlement in general of people. Anytime someone has strong opinions of something, you don't want to deal with that person. So it's like if a pedestrian has really strong pedestrian views, and if a car driver has really strong car views, both of those people are going to be horrendous people to deal with. You need someone who's going to work with you.
I feel like pedestrians, and especially cyclists, are just more political and more self-righteous.
It's a whole different story, cyclists.
As they should be.
Yeah, this is getting really politically intense.
In Boise, I was crossing from the mall, and these kids. I was a little out into the street.
On your car? Or
no, on my bike.
On your bike.
And these kids were trying to take a right, and Boise is not designed well, and so I was in the wrong here. I was blocking them, but they were talking to me. They were taunting me, and so I wasn't going to move. So I actually went out further, and they tried to run me over. It was like a theme.
That's just such a hard. You can't take that battle on, Ross. Like you're not gonna win.
A bunch of punk kids in some truck.
You're not gonna win.
One time,
I guess you could throw a rock at them.
Yeah. I guess I just dream of like someday like actually getting in an altercation and like pulling someone out of their car. Like,
well, on Sunday I was driving, and there was a pedestrian situation, and a woman just got to the crosswalk by Rose Hours, or is that what it's called?
Rosers.
Off like 95.
Mm-hmm,
and I was
busy highway.
Yeah, north-south highway.
Runs like through 4 states or something, 5 maybe.
And I'm going south, entering Moscow, and she's on the right-hand side. She just got there, and it was one of those situations where I could have stopped, but it's like she wasn't even ready to go yet. She just got there, and I hear a car beeping as I went past the as I went past the crosswalk. Thank you. And this guy is beeping his truck horn and yells out the window, "Don't you see the woman there?" And I was like, okay, pushed on the gas a little faster and got out of that situation. And I felt like I was scolded by like a dad, like back in like as a child. So I felt pretty bad about that, but I still don't think that. I mean, that guy was kind of like, he's probably part of your pedestrian society that you have going on.
My militant group.
I will say I was there at the time in the passenger seat, and I've never seen someone in that opposing truck. I've never seen someone like that get so crazy and protective. That was like he was like very, very protective of that woman.
Maybe it was his mom.
Who was very safe.
That's how. So do you have a car, Ross?
No, I don't have a car.
So would you think that you would do something like that if you would you be would
you be an activist or an advocate for watching out?
Would you be watching out, like driving, and you're like, I'm keeping an eye, making sure these cars stay in check?
A vigilante.
Vigilante.
A pedestrian vigilante.
Maybe if I was walking around my bike, but.
No, if you get a car.
Yeah, I probably wouldn't, just because driving is such an aggravating situation.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I probably
would have, like, going to scold you, I probably would have run over the woman. So that kind of kills my point.
Have you ever had a car?
When I was in high school.
And what happened? Did you give it up?
Yeah, I gave it to my sister.
Oh. Do you miss it?
Yeah.
No. I mean, I borrowed my parents' car every once in a while.
Don't you miss like you and your car in the open road and
I lived with Don Henley from the Eagles for a year, and so I don't really care about the open road anymore. I had enough of that.
But you don't like driving, are you?
No. I don't.
Do you have a license?
To kill. Sorry, that was stupid. No, yeah, I do have a license.
All right. Do you ever see yourself being behind the wheel again, or is this something where you're kind of just
that's done?
committed
That's
to
the
pedestrian
done
life?
part of your life.
I don't know.
Like, you seem like you like public transportation, or you're okay with it.
I tolerate it.
But do you ever want a car? Like,
I don't know. Maybe if I had the money, like, and I didn't. It just seems like such a hassle, like worrying about it all the time.
It
and-
seems super convenient.
a car's like you could get a car for like $500 now, and that actually or
What
like
okay, go
a
ahead.
couple grand. It's not that expensive anymore.
What about a different type of vehicle, like a
Like a
scooter
moped or something. Oh, that could be.
That's scooter, moped, skateboard.
We got to stick motorized.
Okay.
So
I have a bicycle. Why would I get a skateboard? I hate those kids more than anything. They're the worst, taking up all the space.
So you just don't see yourself getting a vehicle anytime soon.
Probably not. Not here, anyway.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, small town.
They're just
Yeah.
so easy to get around here.
That's sort of like what's the word? Confining if you don't have a car, because like Catherine was talking about hitting the open road. Even though I know you live with the guy from the Eagles, but there's something about just having that and knowing that you could kind of just hop in it and go places that's freeing, for me at least.
Oh, for me too. Yeah. I drive out of Moscow a lot, but I get like an hour, and then I don't know where I like get tired. I turn back around. I have no plan, and I don't really want to waste more than a couple hours doing that.
Because living with a bike or living with just your feet, it's like you are back in an older time. Like, like you're living like in the 1800s life, where you have this town and you kind of just
Very Amish of you.
Yeah, you just kind of hang out in that town. Or me and Catherine, it's like we could go.
We're like living in the 21st century.
Yeah, I could drive anywhere I want. I could drive to New York in like 4 days or 3 days, whatever. It's like Ross. It's just like, oh, you just living in the town. Like you can't get out.
You can go to the airport
How?
or the train station.
By what? Taking a bus?
Yeah,
It's
Yeah.
not even
You
worth
can do
the
it.
trouble at that point.
I think, but that's how do you get to the airport, Ross?
I haven't had to get to the airport.
He doesn't leave the town.
Wow.
No, I took the bus to Boise a couple times.
Okay.
All right.
Yeah. All right. Fair enough.
But what about that whole concept? Do you like that? Are you cool with that? That doesn't cross your mind?
So I'm pretty pissed off at you right now for making me seem old-fashioned, but I always considered myself a Paul Newman type. So raindrops keep falling on my head just plays wherever I'm walking, and then I wreck my bike and I throw it away, and then I go to Bolivia. How I get there is unknown, but that's where I go.
I think that's. Yeah. I mean, I don't think a car necessarily I think it gives you potentially even the illusion of freedom.
Yeah.
Because it doesn't really get me out of this place. It just makes me circle around it a lot.
Awesome.
And I get less exercise. So
That's true.
it's all a wash.
Yeah.
I would go by the stance where you need a car, but that's just me.
Well, when I publish my epic novel, then I'll get on that.
What would be the first thing that you so say you did publish an epic novel, what would be the first thing you bought?
With that money that you gained
With
from
that
the
money, yeah.
epic novel.
I don't know.
Not a car.
Probably not.
That'd
Probably,
be way down there.
yeah. I don't know what I would do.
Just like buy a town.
Yes. Buy my own island.
What about you, Catherine?
What would I do with I get my epic novel published?
You just
that sounds
epic
awful.
novel by Catherine Johnson.
I just don't even want to imagine having to go through it. An
NY
epic novel.
Times bestseller.
I mean,
I
well,
would stop writing.
it depends on what you're thinking about. Like, are you thinking actually like hard writing, like art, or like writing the Da Vinci Code 2.
It's just always described by critics as being epic. It's like, that's all it is. People are just like, it's epic. It's all you got to know about it.
It just sounds so long. I think that's all it's used to describe. Anyway, I would just buy land. I would just buy property.
Yeah. I'd buy some new friends.
Well,
Nice.
where would you go to look for your new friends? There is, I mean, that
internet?
actually
The
is like
internet?
fairly, I mean, if you take it, that
Friends.com?
actually like, that's like not so crazy.
I try to
No.
become friends with people that I wanted to hang out with, like stars.
Celebrities?
I try to go hang out where they're hanging out and like just secretly like hang out with them for a little bit. Like I'd like to meet Larry David, so I'd probably just go down.
You could just spend all the money that you have on trying to get to Larry David.
I'd just be like, where is he hanging? He's going. Where does he play golf at? Because he plays golf all
And
the
you'd
time.
become a member
I'd become
of
a
the
member of the
club.
club. And
Yeah.
and I'd
yeah.
be like, oh, hey. And then we become friends, and I'd fly over to like London and maybe like go meet Ricky Gervais or something like that. And be like, oh, what does he do? Oh, he does this.
You just join all the same really expensive private clubs that they're a part
I would
of.
just try
and
to-
then you become popular, really popular in
Yeah.
those clubs.
And then I just meet, and then I'm like, oh, I'm friends with all these cool people that I've wanted to be friends with. And I'm good.
Actually seems pretty worthwhile.
that actually, like, it sounds like you actually have more heart in it than, like, it actually sounds more admirable than it first sounded.
Yeah.
It's like you just want some like friends who you find funny.
Yeah, it'd be cool to meet some people like that. I would keep some of my other older friends, but I'd have to like go through like a Facebook cleanse, where you go through the friends list. I'd have to pick and choose. Oh, what is he offering me? What is
So
she offering me?
you want to be a social climber.
The people that I want to.
You want to go straight to the top. You don't want to.
The people that I want to be friends with, they don't have many friends either. It's just like, let's just get in a little.
like
group,
Larry David
like a
doesn't
little
have
rap-
a lot of friends.
No, he's friends.
I feel like he has tons of friends.
It seems pretty abrasive.
A lot. Do you know how many people would say, "Oh yeah, me and Larry, like we are awesome. We're great friends." Like that seems like 400,000 people.
No way.
4,000.
not
Having lived with Don Henley, I can say that the rich and famous don't have as many friends as you'd think.
But I'm saying a lot of people would say that they're their friends.
Yeah,
Oh, yeah.
everyone wants to say they're friends with people. I mean, I say I'm friends with Billy Gibbons from ZZ Top all the time because I used to, I worked at Radio Shack in West Hollywood and he came in all the time. So I'd say it as a joke. I'd be like, yeah, me and Billy came in. I sold him some stuff for his grandkids. And we were talking about the VH1 Rock Honors that he was on. And
But how are you going to break through to these guys that don't acknowledge many people as being their friends? Like, what's going to
'Cause
set
I gotta-
you apart?
because I'm going to be like, hey, I know I'm the same way,
So they'll see kind of like a soulmate in you.
They'll be like, he's not going to bother
kindred
me all the
spirit.
time. I'm not going to be sending them emails or ringing their phone all the time. It's just like when we hang out, we'll hang out. It's like it's a no pressure friend situation.
And that's going to be the thing that like clicks you right into place.
Yeah, they'll be like, all right, he sounds pretty easy to get along with. I'm cool with that. Bring him on board. That's what I don't know.
Nice.
It could
Or
work.
not. Or maybe not. I don't know.
It might end badly. Actually, it sounds like kind of a good idea for a story.
It's just like you just have to constantly be putting yourself in front of them, I don't know, like being their golf pro.
You'd have to learn how to play golf, or do you already know?
Oh, I'm a -1 handicap. You know what that means?
That means that
I'm
you don't have a handicap.
Really good.
That means you're one stroke better than having no handicap.
Are you being serious?
No, I'm joking. I don't play golf. I tried out for the freshman team when I was a freshman in high school, and I got kicked off for swearing.
Like while you were trying to go back
a
and
putt.
swing. Oh, with putting. Oh, I could see you getting so upset with putting.
But I don't mind. I have friends who play golf, but I'm not really that crazy about it. I like.
You
going
might be too tense to play golf. It's kind of
It's
a
an
zen.
It's an aggravating sport.
Yeah, it really gets at perfectionists. I think.
Do you golf, Ross?
No.
What sports do you play?
Basketball.
Nice. Do you play racquetball at all? No. I'm looking for someone to play racquetball with me. Sorry to take this. Let's just interrupt this program. So if anyone out
Put
there,
out a call, yeah.
if anyone out there wants to play racquetball with me, let me know. I have a pass for the Kibbe Dome. I could pick you up, and nobody's ever playing. So all right, we could go back to. So just let me know if you want to do that. I'm an average player. Be somewhat good. I don't want to play someone who hasn't played before.
I have a little bit of experience.
Yeah, don't wear
No newbies.
Yeah, no newbies, no goggles.
He's not there to teach you.
And also no goggles. I don't want to be I don't want people looking at us weird. But
Do you talk while you play racquetball? Do you like
yeah, you
conversation?
say, "Oh,
no, do you have like conversation?
yeah, like
Yeah.
you're gonna die or this.
Oh, all competitive. All competitive.
like
You're gonna die.
eat this or take that.
So you want someone to give it back a little bit, like they can dish it out.
Yeah, I want them to be into it. Like really, like I'm like doing it like I'm battling like in medieval times with like a sword and just screaming as loud as I can, hitting the ball as hard as I can.
What if they're like, okay, good shot, yeah.
No, you don't there's no compliments involved. It's just straight competition.
So they're gonna say like, I hated that shot. Stop.
Yeah, I have a.
Ugh, that
Yeah.
was ugly.
All right, we don't.
Have you ever played sports?
Not competitively.
Oh, okay.
I hate competition. I'm the least competitive person.
Why's that?
It's like I don't like competition. It makes me tense. Why does somebody have to win?
Why? Because we need winners and losers.
It's like, why don't we just like all just have a good
We
time?
live in a capitalist society.
Yeah.
Let's just have a good time. Like I won't score.
Participation
keep points.
trophy.
I was in 6th grade. I was in the track team, and me and some other fellow losers, we had a relay team.
Nice.
And there weren't enough relay teams, so we got to go to like the city relay, and we got 8th place out of 8 teams, like the whole way.
What kind of relay was this? Was
Just
it
like
a
somebody
relay,
runs for a little while, and
and then
they
you switch off.
Yeah.
Is it with the switching off the little thing?
I don't remember if we had the thing or not.
baton,
We
I
might have
think?
had the baton. One time my shoe came off though, and I threw it into the crowd.
Did they scream and grab for it?
Yeah, they did. They
How
wanted
did you
that
did you finish the race
Did they,
without
like,
a shoe?
Did they fight over it?
to the death.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Just
I
like
did
both.
finish the race.
Without the shoe?
Yeah.
Whenever I think of a relay race, I feel like one guy runs like forward for a little bit, another guy tags him out. He's running like backwards. And
It always seems like it always seems like they fumble. Like they just can't get the pass off right.
Yeah.
It's very stressful. Go, get it,
Yeah.
grab it. And then they're just running again. It's boring.
But it
Yeah.
seems like they're not just running. It's like they're hopping or they're like climbing a ladder or it's
That
like
sounds like an obstacle course
maybe
you're
that's what I'm
talking
thinking
about.
You're thinking about like,
I think about like Nickelodeon. I think.
yeah, I think you are. And then you fall in slime. What the heck?
Was that like a dream of your guys to like be on that show?
No.
I loved the show.
Or to
I
be
would have
like-
never. I used to use it to like get ready in the morning. It'd be like, "All right, Catherine, you have 30 seconds to get your underwear on your jeans. Go!" That was.
Oh my.
I just like the idea of having obstacle courses. Like it's like this looks like a crazy adventure, like Discovery Zone, like for in like
Oh
Illinois.
yeah,
It's like
we had
tunnels and
Discovery Zone.
balls and
Definitely,
just little
Loved it.
like cool little contraptions to walk up and down or walk through. It just was. I was like all into that.
We had a place called Pandemonium.
Wow,
It was just,
Nice.
amazing.
it was my favorite place to go. Well,
was it-
loved it in the mall. Pandemonium.
So is it pandemonium?
Yeah, I mean, it was just like tons of little tunnels and balls you jump through, and like you run into kids who are just sitting, like you find these like little characters kind of sitting in corners in these like green tubes
Yeah,
and
they're
stuff.
just like hanging out there.
and you're just like, move it on, move it, move
And they're
it,
just like
get out of
sitting
the
there,
way.
like creeps.
yeah,
It's
yeah.
like it's like turning down a bad alley. And there's like some,
It's like a drug deal.
yeah, it's like, hey, what's going on, kid? You're like,
You got the stuff.
yeah.
Yeah, it was. You had like privacy in there from your parents,
I know,
and
it
you'd
is
run it. Yeah, you like run down these
strange.
alleys, hit other kids and stuff.
They were weird kids.
Some people had their first sexual experiences in there.
Yeah, I saw a couple 6-year-olds getting.
All right.
getting
All right.
crazy.
Don't go there.
Oops. Oh, here comes the FCC.
Yeah. Do you remember? And then there's also the balls too, where everything was getting lost in the balls.
I never got that.
Yeah.
Much pleasure out of the ball pit.
Well, if you go to like Chuck E. Cheese, it's like these kids jump in with tokens. These like kids who don't think, and then it's like you're just scoping for tokens, and you're like, I found like 10 tokens in here, and then it's
I
like
never thought to look for tokens.
See, the only time I ever was in a ball pit, I stepped on some kid's retainer and had to get a tetanus shot.
Yeah.
Actually, that was a lie.
You gotta.
That never
believed
happened.
it.
Or did it?
So to bring this all back around before we take a little break, we started on pedestrians and we went all the way around. We ended on pandemonium. So what do we say here?
What's
can we
the
can we
meaning
make
of
can we
that?
make peace? Ross, can we make peace with the pedestrian and the driver?
No.
There you have it, folks. Peace will never exist between the driver or the pedestrian. Hey, I don't make the rules. Stay tuned. We got Sally Yazwinski coming up in studio. First-year fiction student. Reading some poetry. You don't want to miss it.
Welcome back to Prosers. You are listening to 90.3 KRFP Moscow Pullman. We are back in the studio with Sally Yazwinski. Sally Yazwinski is a first-year MFA candidate in fiction at the University of Idaho. Sally grew up from the pictures, it looks like a rather stunning dairy farm in Deerfield, Massachusetts. Before coming to Idaho, she spent time in several other grad programs, the Peace Corps, and she taught special education students. Sally is a sharp, witty, and insightful writer. If she is funny in her work, it is in the service of a deeper, often darker emotional truth. Sally is also a very good friend of mine and has given me some of the best advice for dealing with men. Her mantra being, treat them like they're 8th grade boys. Which actually doesn't work for me because I'm scared of 8th grade boys. But Sally is definitely not, which is why I love her. If you Google her, you'll find a resume to boot. She's been published in Birmingham Arts Journal, East Coast Literary Review, Typehouse Literary Magazine, and Bacopa Literary Review. She was also the winner of the 2014 Bread Loaf School of English Prize for Best Fiction. And if you continue to browse Sally's Google search results, you'll find nothing but praise and positive reviews, including this line from a Caroline. Sal is a very funny lady. She cracked me up all the time and cracked up at everything I said, thus making me feel very good about myself. I bet she's laughing now if she's reading this. Are you laughing, Sally? On that note, I am so happy to introduce you to our special guest, Sally Yaz.
So the first poem I have is called Marking Stones, and I wrote it about my dad. Oh, sorry. From where I found myself, the farms looked new, but they weren't. It was the sun that made them seem this way. The fields were filled with ancient marking stones that would be upturned and found when it was time for planting, placed there by someone who had built a house on a hill out of matchstick pines. Clay pottery from broken bowls lay about, buried or not. These pieces were not from him. This man was trying to escape his neighbors or Indians. These stones that signaled what was owned were large, flat, and smooth, manta ray-like in this brown and red soil. The silt was left over from the almost monthly flooding, subterranean and forceful enough to change the river's very course. Oxbows of sand would appear and disappear as if placed or plucked by something gigantic. Foxes lived around here with translucent eyes. The grass was long enough to hide them when they were standing still. The orange in this afternoon melted into their fur. The warmth of the day was in the ground in such a way that if I were to walk barefoot, I'd feel the pricks of thick grass in the sun in July. I'd taste hay and fat, worm-drunk robins if I took a drink from this river. The clouds lazily smudged their way over the tip of the valley, finger paint divine. And this next one is called Hay Dance. Shuffling down the hallway of a barn, my brother and I shake hay into troughs. Evenly, fairly, they each deserve enough. Chained in stanchions, the cows stomp with excitement, their tongues thick and long like a moray eel. They rip mouthfuls of hay, swinging their heads side to side, up and down, shifting weight side to side. They've become something else, children as big as cars. My father told me to come into the barn on Christmas Eve at midnight. Bent down on one knobby knee, they would bow their heads. Cows can be polite. And these next two poems I wrote when I was living in Detroit. This one's called The Space and Burned Houses. Detroit moves me. I'm going to set a house on fire, set it alight. A home that's nested close to others, so close I could touch two if I stood between them with raised arms. In a neighborhood with people who keep their lawns close, with shutters carefully painted a color that will pop against brick. It would have 3 floors and a basement. I don't have a good reason for why I'd like to set a house on fire. I'd wait until the evening. The sun would melt into the neighbors' roofs. Navy light would bleed into my horizon like watercolors on rough paper. I wouldn't want it to be beautiful, but it might shake out that way. There's something about flames licking sky as it's beginning to get dark. I wouldn't want anyone to get hurt. The house would be empty. I'd make sure the dogs were outside. I'd set it on fire and watch it burn colors that mean something is starting again. And the noises, popping like knuckles, cracking like ice cubes, hissing like my tire when I drove over a broken screw. I don't want to give you a good reason for why I'd set a house on fire. I wouldn't remember my life before it happened, but that's not the reason. All right, last one. This one's called I Saw a Car in the River. 2 days in a row and I'm still in my way. The river might save me in a way we're writing, or you can't right now. Waving to Canada, that's what people say they're doing here. Men in their 30s make me tired. I think it's me when it's them, at least this year. I notice eyes first, and if you have nice hands when you grab your bottle at the bar, I'm not sure what they look at first, but I laugh loudly. That's enough. In the water, I can see a car. It's close. I'm sure other people have seen it. Today, it's all mine. Maybe it's art. You never know. I never know if it is or not. I can't help but laugh at myself. Stupid, stupid, stupid. A car in the river made me feel better today. 10 minutes, 8. It took shorter than I thought to feel a quiet. To think of something else rather than nothing else but. To give myself an image to carry, which actually lightens the load.
Awesome. Thank you. So we will be back in a couple minutes for an interview with Sally. Stay tuned.
Hello, welcome back to Prosers. That was Sally Yazwinski. She also goes by Sally Yaz to her friends. And she read a little bit of her poetry, and now she just gets to hang out with us and get interviewed. So, Sally told us that there is nothing off limits tonight that we can't talk about. And because this is a show where we get personal, I'm going to go ahead and dig in deep. So, Sally, take a deep breath, surrender, let go, do whatever you have to do to answer this question. Sally, margarita or mojito?
You had me really terrified.
That was great. I didn't know it was expected. I was on the edge of my seat.
I really kind of feel like I'm going to throw up a little bit. I'm both at the same time.
That's awesome. I love that you said that. I like them both as long as the margarita is done really well. I guess the guys don't have anything to say about that.
I would go with the margarita. I never got that into the mojito. It's just like...
It was a girlier thing,
The mojitos-
recent phenomenon.
I would say, yeah, like last 3 years, I would say for mojito.
The mojito's the champagne and orange juice, right? Or is
Oh my god! That was terrible.
What's
That's a mimosa. It's a very different, has very different
test.
cultural
All right,
connotations.
so what is
too.
the...
Mojito is
Wait.
like, it's mint. There's mint.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Mint, rum,
Like the sangria
lime,
almost.
sugar.
It's not like sangria.
I'm just going to keep naming drinks.
It's like
that it is not.
it's like a diet kind of like girly, like yummy cocktail.
Yeah, like sugary.
Yummy. I don't think I ever had a mojito, and margaritas only gave me like, they didn't get me drunk enough and gave me ice headaches. So
You just got to get a really good margarita.
Yeah.
Fresh.
It's like a
squeeze.
day changer.
Are you a
day changer.
Are you a frozen margarita, Sally, or are you a unfrozen margarita?
On the rocks.
On the rocks, yeah.
I would say on the rocks.
On the rocks, me
'Cause
too.
you get it sooner.
Oh, yeah.
I like it frozen. It's kind of like a Slurpee or like
Yeah.
a slushie.
But that I feel
Like
like
a
maybe
treat.
you haven't been to places where they've had like really good margaritas.
But cafe au lait.
Do they have good margaritas out here in Moscow?
No.
I have not had that yet, no.
Absolutely not.
Really?
Anyway, we can move on from that. So, Sally, besides having to wake up on the dairy farm that you grew up on, besides having to wake up very early in the morning,
And how early did you have to wake up?
4:30
Every morning?
every morning.
which is just wild.
Wait a
that
second.
Your parents made you wake up that early.
This was this during school or just as like a summer
yeah,
job?
no, like growing up.
So you always had to get up every single day at 4:30 in the morning?
Yeah.
Even on weekends?
Yeah, if we were there. I mean, if like they wouldn't. If I was at a friend's house, it was fine. But like, if I was there, we all had to. Yeah.
So did you have to work
Yeah.
before school?
Yeah, and after school too. Yep.
Jeez.
I know it's kind of like Little House on the Prairie, but not really.
So, but it seems, other than that, which sounds awful, but I guess if you're used to it as a kid, I don't know. You seem like you had a very idyllic childhood. It was beautiful surroundings, surrounded by family, neighbors that were also family.
I don't know if there's
charming
anything
town,
idyllic
solid
about
parents.
It could be in a sandy beach with the most beautiful scenery ever. If I had to wake up at 4:30 in the morning, that would be destroyed for me. You could go on with the question. I just had to say that. Does anyone else feel that way? No.
I
I had a
just-
paper route when I was a kid.
Oh
so.
God! So you know what it's like.
Yeah.
Yeah, been
That's just
there,
as-
done that.
That's grueling.
It is grueling. I don't know. I don't know if I'd like that.
So it's
I wouldn't.
idyllic. It's
Okay, it sounds great. Is there anything besides waking up early that you would change about the way that you were raised?
I think
Or is there anything that you were like, thank God I got that covered in childhood? Like, yes, like scored big on that one.
Got my tonsils out.
wait, I don't know what you mean.
Like in terms of how you were raised in the environment you were raised in, are there things you're like either wish one thing you could change about it or something that you're like really happy that it was the way it was?
I think I really honestly wouldn't change anything. When I was in high school, it's when I kind of wish things were a little different. But when I
What-
was
Sorry, go on.
well, when I was younger, like my world was very small. Like our farm is like right down the road from the house I grew up in. Like my whole family lives on the same street. So my life was very, very small. So I think growing up, I mean, at the time I didn't want to wake up at 4:30 in the morning and I didn't want to do all that work, and I grew up very differently from most people and didn't realize that till I was older. But I wouldn't change what I like how my parents.
So it's not like, oh, I wish I had cable TV.
Oh, well, yeah, I wish I kind of did, because when you're 13 and you finally get a television, you are like really screwed in terms of knowing anything about culture. So maybe that would have been
So you didn't have a TV growing up?
not until I was 13.
Wow.
So what happened in high school then? Why did that get kind of weird? Or
My town is kind of strange in that it's very, very old. Like started in like 1740.
and this town again is
Deerfield, Massachusetts, like right below Vermont.
all right.
And there's boarding schools in my town, and they're all within a mile of each other. And so ever since, and like my family's been there since like 1850.
Wow.
Wow.
So all the male members of my family went to this one particular boarding school, and then it went co-ed. So then all of us were expected to go.
Like a serious legacy.
Yeah. And so I didn't think anything differently. I was like, okay, this is what I'm going to do. And I went, and academically, I'm like very thankful for the education I received, but socially, it was really hard. Just because.
And so
like,
did you board there?
I did for the first year.
Okay.
But it was ridiculous because my house is like next to the campus. But my parents did that because I would meet more people that way.
Yeah, so would you...
Did you sleep there?
Yeah.
So you'd have to get up at 4:30.
No, I did because my farm is next door.
Oh, wow.
So your dad still made you wake up and walk from the dorm.
Like, you went like across a field or something?
Yeah, like it was literally.
Weren't you
door.
like breaking rules by leaving
I had permission.
Oh my gosh! So you had to wake up, go help Dad.
Did you live with a roommate?
I did not. No.
Oh, I was gonna say I'd be very, very. I couldn't.
You're so upset you can't even verbalize it right now.
He doesn't believe in 4:30 in
I'd
the
be
morning.
like, stop! I'd be calling your dad if I lived here. I'd be like, she's not waking up anymore at 4:30. It's messing my whole day up.
No.
All right, well that's good. You didn't have a roommate.
So you
That'd
didn't
be
have a
rough.
roommate, but it sounds like you lived. There were like girls in other rooms around.
Yeah, it was like
you.
a regular dorm.
Okay.
And the only thing that was really hard was that, like, you know, my mom's a kindergarten teacher and my dad's a dairy farmer, you know, and a lot of the people that went to that school, their parents were like diplomats or like royalty or like plastic surgeons from like Hollywood, and a lot of them had a ton of money.
Oh.
So was it like really strict with the girls? Were the girls really
Like
mean
cliquey?
to each other?
They were really mean to me because you could literally, like, the field hockey fields were next door to like our barns. So
So
like
they thought-
everyone knew what my family did.
So they're like, "Oh, you do barn stuff."
yeah, they were
My
not
dad,
impressed.
no.
Oh my gosh!
No,
I
it
feel
was
like I'd
really
be so
awful.
impressed. Oh my god, a farm? What? I feel like I would be so excited.
Didn't you grow up on a ranch?
I did, and I went to boarding school as well.
I think they sound different though.
They sound really different.
I wish I'd gone to yours.
I know. I wish you had gone to it too.
What's
but
the- Go on.
I said it was really kind of wild growing up in an environment where I was very isolated and then being thrown in. I had roommates and girls who were like very much intimate and in my face.
You could
and
not- yeah, you
playing
couldn't get away.
pranks and
Yeah.
like catching each other naked in the shower and just like very much like in your business. And how much that did you have those moments where you were like, this is too
Oh my gosh, all the
I'm
time.
revealing too much, or like people are too close, or like
Well,
These girls sound like the stars of Jackass, by the way. Like, it's like, did you go to school with, like, Johnny Knoxville and Steve?
they were pretty
like, Chris
devilish.
Pontius? I mean,
they
they're
weren't like risk
messing
takers.
but they're looking in the shower. It's like messing, doing all these
Oh, yeah,
pranks.
for
It's-
sure. I mean, we're girls like kind of devilish pranksters like that,
No,
or like
it
wanting to
was-
humiliate and embarrass.
it was just
Or-
mean. Like,
Okay.
that sounds kind of like fun spirited.
It's
it
like
could be,
it's like
not.
playful and cruel, but yours sounds like they just didn't even want to play.
No, it was like like picture the most traditional New England boarding school, and that's where I went. Like
Yeah.
very Puritan, incredibly like established rules. You know,
So no,
patriarchal.
did you guys know like drinking in the dorm like that? Did you like get
Oh well,
away
yeah.
with it?
I mean,
okay.
well, and plus, like, you know, we had fields like next door to the school, so like
Did you smoke some weed in the dorm? We did that a little bit.
never in the door.
How old were you?
10th grade, 9th and 10th grade.
Oh, in board. Wow, this is serious.
So, boarding school. What were you, I guess you've kind of answered this, but like what were you like in high school? Like how have you grown? How have you like become more that person or changed from that?
Oh my god.
Or are you the same person?
Because
I
just feel like I'm just gonna say when
someone
someone meets Sally, they think like she was probably pretty popular in high school.
Oh my god, no.
You are. You're like very socially adept. Just quick. Like you could see her having been like a pretty popular person.
No, it's because I was tortured in high school. No, I was very, very quiet, and I worked really hard, like academically. So people were like really mean about that. That I did well. They were just like really, really mean about it. But I think in terms of how I've changed in high school, like I took a lot of stuff just because like I was too scared to like say anything for myself. So I think if anything, and especially after like all the years in grad school, like you just learn to be able to say things for yourself, like if you need to. And like after having been a teacher, like if there's anything I've seen with like girl students coming up is that they're not able to speak for themselves when they're upset. Like
Yeah.
at the moment they need to, you know?
Yeah.
So I think that's the biggest difference.
Yeah.
I also like people a lot more than I did when I was in high school.
That's awesome.
So
Do you notice in grad school, do you recognize any like little old like other people kind of behaving in old high school ways a little bit. I guess.
No one here is like preppy or mean.
Sometimes I'm reminded of junior high.
Yeah. It's like
yeah,
more of
I
a
would
throwback.
agree.
Being here
Middle
and-
school more than high school.
Yeah.
Like a little bit more Arrested Development.
Yeah, it's strange.
Junior high was a really strange time. I mean, it was like you get in there 7th grade, everyone's still kind of figuring stuff out a little bit, and then 8th grade, it's like, whoa, it's like people make severe transformations.
That's why I loved teaching it.
I would not want to teach those kids.
I loved it because they're such a mess. They're just such a disaster.
Who was one of your most messed up students? I mean, you could just say, you don't have to say the last name, just say like,
You don't have to say the name.
you could say like Jim T or something. Like, just give us a really messed up
God.
student, because I mean, I could pull out a couple.
That you,
on.
that
Or
you-
why doesn't Jason give an example
right, we had a-
of someone, and then Sally can kind of diagnose and like,
tell you what's
Okay.
wrong with them?
yeah, and like say how you should have dealt with it.
Well, there was this one kid his name was Isa. Isa, his name was, I think, and his last name was
You don't have to say-
C. He's probably not even alive right now. I mean, he's like
Issa C. Okay.
Isa. He's a weird name. It's like I don't know what he was. He was.
Sounds like you held that against him.
I
Okay,
didn't
let's
hold it
move on
against
from
him. He
this.
was-
So
but-
Jason's
but-
racist? Is that what we're
Yeah,
saying?
that's great. Great, Moscow. You know my secret. So this guy, he was just a weird kid. Like, he was stealing video games from JC Flicks all the time, and he had like an under racket, like selling. He was selling like games,
Like on the black market?
like out of his locker. So basically, except out of
The black market.
the locker
in
market.
A middle school black market.
But it was weird. It's just like he was like, that was his trade. It was like he was just a weird guy, and then you could like give him a name, like, oh, I need this game. It's for this council, and he'd be like, all right, $5 or something, and he'd steal it for you. So it was just like weird. That's a little weird character. to
Was he
have.
nice to you?
He was a nice guy. He had really weird shoes. I think he had Velcro shoes, and people would kind of
That's
like.
the first sign that something's wrong.
He wasn't all there probably, but he was. I don't know. He was the go-to guy if you needed a video game.
I know it doesn't
Stolen.
sound like anything diagnosable. It just sounds like he was bad.
He was a bad
kid.
egg.
But he was
Bad
just,
to the bone.
just one of many that has, it's-
How would you have addressed like that kind of a stealing problem?
If a kid was stealing and I knew about it,
Yeah, and
you're a
and
teacher?
there was also other kids were kids like Jason were like, all right, give me that video.
I never
game,"
did
or
it. I
whatever.
never bought it, but I saw some transactions.
How would you break up that? I don't want to say drug ring, but like the equivalent.
Oh my gosh. SWAT team.
it would depend like the kid. But typically with stealing, I had a friend who was a police officer. So a lot of the times I would have him come in and like address the student. I taught like really messed up kids though. So like me like yelling wasn't going to do anything.
Okay.
Like it had to be like really a big deal.
Strategic,
Incredibly strategic with
Right.
any sort of discipline.
right?
Like plan.
So you bring in the policeman.
I would.
Then what would he put come here, stand up, turn around. How do you like to feel these cuffs?
Jason's what used to be an aspiring policeman,
Yeah.
so he's got it.
What do you do to the kid?
My junior high was right next to the juvenile hall. So kids would just like march
go,
over there.
yeah.
What's up? See ya. Then they'd come back for a little while.
It's more just about scaring them. I mean, I hate to say it. Like, it takes a lot to scare those kind of kids, but
But they respect, like policemen. I feel like
Also-
that would be a great way to do it.
also guilt works really well. Like
Gosh.
just making them feel bad.
How could you make someone feel bad that's stealing video games? Like,
I would say, I can't believe you're doing this so close to my room.
it's like
You would
well,
do that to me? Like,
my
do you know how
mom-
this looks
oh,
to
yeah,
me?
That's
like,
a
right now?
solid. I think I've had
Oh,
that
yeah.
happen maybe one time.
Like, why are you doing that to me?
That's a rough one, yeah. For teachers, that's a little. That's sad. It's like,
Why don't you cut me in on this? You want to sell by my room?
20%.
We're going to have to work out some kind of deal.
but yeah, that's a tough job.
So while you're in high school, is that kind of where your desire to write came out?
No.
Or it had already been there since the very beginning?
No, I didn't write at all in high school. And I didn't start writing until, like, I was in college. And that's just because, like, a professor told me to.
Like try writing.
Yeah, because I hated, like, academic writing, but I was an English major.
Right.
And I started as a journalism major.
Even though you
had
hadn't written?
I had it written before, and they were like, you have to write the facts, and I was basically like making it sound pretty, which like you can't do for reporting. Like you need to report it
That's
as
great.
is.
That creative impulse was coming out.
So do you have an example of like a way that you tell a story? And
It would just be like, instead of like 28 people voted in town hall, it would be like 28 people like rushed in and they voted, and it was not like economic, efficient, none of it.
yeah.
How would you report on a kid stealing video games and selling them?
If I was writing,
If you were the reporter, the journalist on that.
well, I can't do it because I can't write journalistically.
No, but you do it in your way.
Oh, it would just be like long-winded and unnecessarily long. No one would want to read it.
Why would anyone want to read about some kid stealing video
Sweet
games?
kid goes bad at Telmont Middle School.
I used to work at Toys R Us, and a lot of people they'd have their friends come in and they would pretend to scan the video game. And so it'd
That's a
fool the
classic
cameras, and then,
Classic.
and yeah, that happened.
Takes too much work.
Well, with that said, we're going to take a quick break, and we'll be back with more from Sally Yazwinski when we come back. Stay tuned.
Hey, y'all. Welcome back to Prosers, KRFP Moscow Pullman. We are in the studio with Sally Yaz. This is the segment where we play a little game with our guest, and this is a game that I made up. And so the game is, Sally will be presented with 3 characters from Massachusetts that she will get to be introduced by. I will be a character, Jason will be a character, Ross will be a character.
What?
They may be accidentally a little offensive. I apologize for that if they are. So Sally's job is to call us out for how accurate we're being, and pretty much determine which one sounds like the real Massachusettsian. But you can comment after each person reads, like, you can say, like, what we got wrong, what we got right, call us out, do your thing.
We got to wait till the very end to get the, right? Wait till the end until we get the final result instead of doing it, critiquing in between each one?
Okay, we'll wait till the end, and then we can come back
Yeah.
and then critique each one individually.
All right. that
Okay,
makes
so
sense.
Jason, you want to start us off?
All right. This is, all right, here we go. Just because you're from Mass don't mean you're from Boston. So no, I'm not from Boston proper. And I hate anybody tries to put me a fake Boston accent. I'm a bar kid, raised in old wooden taverns. I'm definitely a good guy. Cold around bad people and warm/hot around those I love. I don't use my fists unless the Red Sox disappoint me. Oh, have they?
Gosh.
But that don't mean I'm no straight shooter and sharp as a fox. Nothing gets me by without getting an old school Massachusetts call out. Peace.
All right, wow. Thanks, Jason. That was Jason's alter ego from Boston. Sounds like he was raised in Brooklyn, though.
Crying.
Ross, character number 2, take it away.
I can't do a Boston accent.
No, you don't have to. You don't have to.
All right.
Do it in the Ross voice.
All right, I'm just a normal dad from Massachusetts. We've got awesome food, tons of culture, and some of the most beautiful beaches around. Great for my babies. Okay, my Mr. Nice Guy act is over. I don't trust people who are too nice to me. Heck, I don't trust tomatoes. What do I trust? Potholes, jaywalkers, tailgaters, good antiquing, cars, fall foliage, and myself. I can't imagine living in the West. My kids aren't allowed past Ohio. Unless there's a Dunks out there, I want nothing to do with it.
Awesome.
Thank you. And now Catherine will read.
All right. I'm an aspiring historian from Mass. I love history and I know mine well. Don't let the size of our state fool you. We're very powerful. I have a fiance who's sweet. He went to school in Connecticut, which I forgive him for. I come from a small town with the best antiques around, but not so special if you were alive and English in 1704 when a raiding party of French and Indian troops provided a taste of frontier justice massacre style. Of course, there's always another side to these issues of expansionist settlers, indigenous property rights, and religious fervor, whether it's 18th or 21st century. The land is more peaceful today than it was in 1704. Come for the history, I say, and stay for the furniture.
Oh my God.
Thank you.
Okay.
Are we
Sally.
going to get arrested?
Yeah.
So, Sally, let's break it down.
Okay.
Well, all right. If you got a breakdown,
Let's start with
I would just say.
Jason's
I would just say.
character. Okay,
let's
well,
just
give us
an
the
answer.
verdict. Give us the
answer.
verdict.
Okay, well, that was a lot. So
right.
I'm not sure if I'll be able to, be
Do you need a
that-
breakdown, or we could
Here's
break
a
it down then if
transcript.
you want.
I don't know what that means. So
Well,
sure.
we'll just go through each character and talk about them.
Okay.
So the first one was me,
Yes.
and I was from
He
Boston.
had a little bit of attitude.
Was that supposed to be a Boston accent?
That just. I guess I'm not.
Yes,
I'm
that
not,
was a Boston accent.
I guess I'm not the winner then.
I didn't know I was picking a winner.
Yeah, you have to pick the best
It's a
one.
game.
Oh.
Who's the most Boston?
Okay, what was convincing
I'm not
about
from
that?
Boston. I have no idea. I know,
So
like,
he could
Boston
have
stereotype.
passed. It sounds like he could have
Yes.
passed for a good old Boston guy. He's a little rough around the edges, but he's got a good heart.
Yes, I would say I hate anybody that tries to put on a fake Boston accent.
That sounds like
That's
something from
key.
someone from Boston would say that.
Cold around bad people and warm/hot around those I love.
Definitely Boston.
I don't use my fists unless the Red Sox disappoint me. I think that's pretty much says it all. That's pretty much it.
All right.
So pretty accurate, I'd say.
So let's
Yeah.
just give you a scale of 1 through 10. 10 being the best, 0 being the worst. What would you rate me on my Boston? And you're also judging this character in general.
I would say
How mass am I?
Oh, mass.
5.5.
I'm a 5.5 mass. Thank you.
5.5.
All
That's
right.
pretty
That's
good. Pretty
all
good.
right, yeah.
Passes. You'd pass out here.
All right. Next, we move on to Ross's character, the dad, but he's put in a little act, but he's got a little secret to him.
He's
I think that I don't trust people who are too nice to me. That is very much
oh,
Massachusetts.
totally mass.
Potholes, jaywalkers, tailgaters. There's a lot of that. All of those things.
Well, that, as we discussed earlier, are my people.
I tailgate, so I feel like
Not
that's-
tailgaters, but jaywalkers,
Jaywalkers.
militant pedestrians.
There's a lot of good antiquing. There are cars there.
Good to know,
It
good to
seems
know.
like dads in Massachusetts would just I just really trust my car. You know? It seems like that would be the
And the dunks thing. I think that's the. Yeah,
I've never-
I feel like this description is more mass than the first one.
All right, so the
Okay,
whole thing now, the description, and you're taking in the reading. What do you give? How mass is this?
I would say a 7.
Woo!
Wow. And I was bad mouthing Massachusetts just the other day.
I do it all the time.
I'll see you guys later. I'm gonna go home.
Oh, come on now.
All right, and then Catherine.
She's more your traditional.
Yes, I would say these are like the girls I went to boarding school with. Very
mass
powerful.
girl.
She's bringing up some history too.
Yes,
Bringing up the
that's-
1700s.
That's actually when my town was massacred. Was in 1704.
This isn't meant to be you.
Well, it is
by the way.
massacre
I
style,
did look
yeah.
up your town and I found some of the history.
Yeah,
on
well,
it.
this is it.
I like how it was massacre style. I like.
It should have been frontier justice, mass style.
Indigenous property rights, religious fervor. The land is more peaceful today than it was in 1704. I think
Makes
this one
sense.
wins.
What?
Yes,
Hold on a second.
yes.
What is the score?
Deal. Oh yeah, what's the okay?
I would say this is like an 8 or 9.
Yes.
An 8 or
That's
9.
right.
Like my fiance went to school in Connecticut, but I forgive him for that.
That was really
I would
good.
say that's it.
That's awesome. I'm glad we worked that out. I'm glad we know now what makes
so
what
funny.
defines a person from Massachusetts.
Well, I don't know because it's tricky because I'm not like Eastern Mass. I'm Western Mass.
Yeah, so it sounds like it's really
It's very
divided.
different. Very divided. Like there's no beaches near me. at
What's
all.
the difference from East and West, like in a nutshell?
In Western Mass, it's like more rural and there's more farms and like it's not a city like at all.
In your Western Mass?
I'm Western Mass.
All right.
It's
And-
pretty much like Vermont, but
In Eastern's just beaches and stuff like that.
Eastern Mass is like the Cape and Boston.
All right.
Very different people.
So you're a proud Western Mass girl.
I would say.
Awesome. Love that. Mass, it's also, I also know that people from Massachusetts are a proud, very proud people.
Well, I didn't realize how mean we were until I've been other places, but until I came out here. Like, people here are just ridiculously nice to the point where I didn't trust them at first.
No, I wouldn't
Yeah.
trust them.
Yeah.
That
Or
would
I
be your
thought they
first
were being
mistake.
like sarcastic.
Fake or something.
Oh, they are.
Yeah.
Ross
Ross continues
is from
not.
here. He's from
Ross
Boise,
is a
so-
native.
Well,
What?
I was born in Portland, Oregon.
really?
Yeah, my parents, they floated me down the Snake River, Moses style. I was supposed to bring liberalism to Idaho, but I failed.
I think he brought it to Moscow, though, for a little bit. Right?
No, I was
No.
college.
Oh, all right.
Cool.
So I'm just gonna ask really quick. So
Yeah,
then
go
you
ahead.
said your teacher said like, oh hey, what did you give him to be like, oh hey, what's this writing that what made him see that? What led him to pick it out? Was he your composition writer or teacher or what?
I had a professor who was my favorite professor. His name's Nat Lewis, and he would give me books to read. Like I read a lot. It's like one of my favorite things to do. So he would always continuously give me books to read. And he gave me like a book of short stories. And then he's like, why don't you try like writing one of your own? And I did, and I brought it in, and he was like, this is really good, like keep going. And then I took a class. But I didn't think like I majored in English, like traditional English. And then I didn't know what I wanted to do, so I like fled the country. And joined the Peace Corps, and then I ended up teaching while I was in the Peace Corps, teaching English. And then I came back and got a teaching job, and I kind of continued to write out there. I didn't think I was any good. And then I had a friend who was in an MFA program, and she told me to apply. So I did.
That's awesome. You're a
Nice.
fantastic writer. So
Thank you.
that teacher was just hit the nail on the head.
Yeah,
And good instinct.
that's cool when teachers do stuff like that. Kind of pull, kind of motivate. I don't think I've ever had a teacher like that.
In 8th grade, I wrote about a woman's hand, and it was shaking. She was drinking bourbon. It was based on my grandmother, and her hand was shaking. And a teacher wrote, "Oh, love that detail." And I was like, "Oh my God!" That was a moment.
Yeah.
When I was in
Sally's
junior high, I wrote a story, and the English teacher was so upset because it was about a bunch of kids making out.
That's
that-
when you knew.
She called my parents.
Transgressive.
And what happened? Yeah.
Well, my parents she called during X-Files, and it was like one of the mythology episodes. So my dad had to talk to her and missed the whole point of the episode. So he was pretty.
So he was more mad about the
Yeah,
X-Files episode
yeah.
over the fact.
Yeah. Well, I'd been in trouble with this teacher before, and he was like, maybe just cool it down. And I was like, all right.
So, Sally, I've asked this next question to a guest before, and I'm just curious about what your answer might be. And I've mentioned this idea of the Kim Barnes, our teacher, has brought it up, the idea of the master narrative, and the thing that you, as much as you write, you like can't help but run into the same narrative or the same themes or the same like motifs or characters, or like there's just this question you like keep running up against, you like can't avoid. Have you found that since you've been here, since you've written a few stories that like, oh, there it is again, like water again. I don't know why it's showing up, but it means something.
I think for me, it's dead animals.
Oh, wow.
Nice.
No, that's
Like, if I had to
cool.
pick one thing that shows up in all of my stories, it's dead animals. And I think maybe it's because I grew up on a farm and, like, we
Right.
learned about death very quickly. I don't know.
Have you killed chickens?
I have.
Nice.
Not on the farm, though.
What have you
No.
killed? What are all the animals
Yeah,
that you've
list
killed?
it, girl. List it.
No one's going to talk to me again if you're, like, announcing this
Let's
in
hear it.
Moscow,
We will
Idaho.
respect you.
This is
People
Idaho.
will respect you in
I think
Idaho.
people would be
I
like,
haven't-
"Whoa, don't mess with her. She's killed. She's taking a life."
You've killed a bear? Wrestled a bear? Wow, that's
Actually,
that
one
is
of my earliest
impressive.
memories is I was at my farm, and I was like 6 or 7, and this was before like when you had to butcher animals, you had to take it to like a government sponsored and like inspected facility.
Oh, so you just couldn't do it out on the property?
We used to be able to.
Oh, you
'cause
have
of
to get
Lyme disease, right?
licensed or
I don't know
something.
why.
Lyme disease. It must be Lyme disease.
Maybe. I have
The
no
culprit.
idea. And I was with my mother and my cousins, and my uncle had a gun, and he shot one of our steers like right in front of us because he didn't see us. And that was like that's like one of my first.
How old were you?
I was like 6.
Oh, wow.
wow.
But I've seen like pigs and all that kind of stuff.
So what have you killed though?
Myself personally,
Yeah, so you've
like with my
killed-
own hands.
Yeah, you've killed
Yes.
chickens, and how what have you killed, and how did you kill them?
I've killed fish.
Who hasn't killed fish?
I haven't killed a
I don't think I've
fish.
killed a fish.
When you're fishing,
I catch and release, and I don't even like
Sometimes they
doing
swallow
that.
the-
I'm like, someone else do the catch and
Sometimes
release
they swallow
for
the
me.
hook though, and then what do you do?
Cut the string and then just let them go.
They're still probably die because the
That's
hook's.
true. I guess I've like very
Inadvertently.
slowly very slowly killed a fish.
but that's I don't know.
So
It's
you said
morally
chickens. How do you
ambiguous.
kill
Go
a
ahead.
chicken? Cut its head
Yeah.
off, right? Do they really run then without the head?
Yeah, this was
They
when I
do,
was in the
right?
Peace Corps. Oh, and sheep. I didn't actually kill the sheep.
You
but
gotta slit their throats, right?
yeah, and it was like a religious holiday where like all they do is like sacrifice sheep.
So this was when you were in the Peace Corps.
Yeah, and I was
you
with my
got
son.
chicken done. You just chop off the head,
That's pretty much what happened. Yeah.
Did
and
you,
then the
like,
go ahead.
Cook it and stuff too. Like,
No, we
did-
just killed them and just left them. And
wait. What?
Wow.
No, I'm kidding. Yes,
She's
we ate
kidding, you
them.
guys.
Oh.
Yeah, right, you guys.
Man, I was like, man, this is took a turn. It's killing for sport.
No,
So sheep, that was a Peace Corps thing.
that's pretty much it in terms of like my own.
And then saw the steer shot.
Yeah, but I've seen
Where-
like all sorts of farm animals.
Panda bear?
We don't farm panda bears, but
Oh,
we did.
I need to rethink
We'd
things.
have
Do
to send them to New
you
York.
has that kind of changed your relationship with animals? Do you feel like don't get too close
Don't
to,
name them.
to livestock, or you
No, it's actually like the total opposite. Like growing up like on my farm, it's very small and
Yeah.
like we always knew like what we were eating. And actually whenever I'm away,
Wow.
it sounds strange, but like whenever I'm away, it really bothers me like just walking into like a place and buying meat cuz I'm like I don't know where it came from. I don't know how it was raised. Like which sounds kind of silly, but like having grown up
No,
knowing like where it
absolutely.
comes
Yeah.
from, you know.
Plus, in
So-
Idaho, most likely it was raised poorly.
Oh great.
No,
I didn't know that.
I bet not in some cases.
Well, you're right.
So naive. I'm so naive. I bet they were all fine. What was I gonna ask?
What so do you guys what do you get from your farm that you eat then?
We have like our own meats, like beef and pork and chicken and like milk, obviously.
Could you make me some cheese?
I know how.
Sweet.
Do you miss having that food compared to going to Winco or Safeway? Or...
Yeah, it's really like you don't realize how lucky you are until you're not able to do that anymore. You know,
I don't think it's got to be really good meat and stuff, right? I mean, I don't think I've never had like fresh farmed animals to eat, or you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
It sounds
Yeah.
stupid, but
No, it makes total sense. And I mean, I don't know, like our farm is like really old, and like the only reason it's lasted this long is because like my father and like my other family members who are involved like have done a really good job and they're really smart about things, but they work like really hard for like the animals that we have. There are other farms like even where I am, like they don't really treat their animals that nicely, but
Does your family want you to take over the business eventually?
I had to decide.
Really?
Yeah.
Wow.
When
And what is it coming soon?
No, I already did when I was 21.
Oh my gosh. So
How did that go down? Your parents like, Sally, come in the living room. We have to talk.
It was more this like inevitable conversation that was always happening, like in the background. And it was kind of like when my brother and I went to college, and then when I left the country, and like I kind of did that off and on, like in between teaching. Like I would come home and I'd leave, and I'd come home and I'd leave, which is not the kind of lifestyle that you can live when you're like living on a farm.
Yeah.
So for me, it was like it was something I couldn't. I mean, I love it, and I love like working outside, and I
so
love.
you said no.
I said no.
Wow.
So who's going to run it once your parents?
My cousins are.
Oh, cousins. You don't want cousins running stuff.
Their names are Skipper and Sam.
Skipper. Sam.
Wasn't Barbie's sister Skipper?
Yeah, or I think might have been, her little sister was Skipper.
I'm a big fan of like joking and making fun of cousins for some reason.
But it's like that's a hard decision. That must have been really hard.
Well, and also,
and
like growing up, it's like you honestly, I feel like it's like your calling or it's not.
Right,
You know,
right.
like
Yeah.
it's very much.
But in a way, I mean, I was thinking about, we had a visiting writer here last week, and Sally asked a question during the Q&A session when you asked what's the best way to describe like a piece of land or something that's means a lot to you, and not do it in a way that just describes the place, and not do it in a way that's just like, I love this, and not gush in a way that's just sentimental. And I wonder if writing about that, I mean, obviously that's something you're interested in, and if that's, do you have like a sensitivity around kind of protecting that relationship? I mean, it seems like that's always going to be really meaningful to you.
and it's something I'm very thankful for, because I don't feel like a lot of people are able to understand that or like have that in their lives. But like, in my family, like our land is everything. It's like why we can do anything that we do, and it's been like passed down for a really long time, and it's really pretty, and it means a lot to us. And it's always hard to try to like convey that to other people in a way that they understand, because a lot of people don't have that connection. Like the land gives us everything that, like, my father's whole livelihood is that. So it's really hard for people to understand that. And like a lot of the times I'll bring people to my farm, and
even
well, but I'll bring them to there or to my farm, and they'll be like, oh, like this is beautiful, like now I get it, like this is really pretty. But trying to like explain that or describe that in writing or just in conversation, it's really hard, and I think it's like a part of what's like a huge part of me is like trying to like tell people about that part of my life, and it's hard to convey that.
Well, and it sounds like even though you won't be a part of the farm, the dairy farm, it will continue to produce milk in your writing. Sorry, had to make that work somehow.
Sounds kind of gross.
Yeah.
Milk it, baby.
And were your parents disappointed by that at all? Were they kind of like, okay?
No, God bless them. They've, like, every time I say, like, I've always, like, I've done things that, like, the normal order, like, people don't normally do. And they, like, whenever I say, like, I'm going to try doing this for a while, they're like, okay. Or, like, I'm going to go live here for a while. They're like, okay. Like, whatever, you've been doing this forever. But they knew, I think, very early on that I probably wasn't going to stay in
You
Western
needed a
Mass.
car
I needed a car.
to get. Ross, if he was there, he would just be like,
Yeah, what would have been?
I'm just walking around this town.
That was her
anyways."
ticket out. That was her ticket out of town.
Green Volkswagen Bug was my first car.
Oh, nice. I could have gotten Don Henley to farm, though. Don Henley's milk.
So,
We got a couple
Wrapping
minutes
it up
left.
here.
Wrap it up. So how can we, do any of you guys got a good wrap up or?
I was going to say pedestrians or drivers. Who's in the right?
Are you going to give it up to her? Is this
Yes,
gonna go-
I feel like we were
I don't know if I judge her judging skills, considering I got a 5.5. So I would. I'm a bit hesitant about it.
I totally trust her judging skills, and I think she has the final vote on this.
All right.
So wait, if I have to say if I'm for cars
Or
having
for-
the right of way.
or for pedestrians.
Who's in the right? If it's a
You're-
yeah,
Just
You have to decide, are you for the people that will have to deal with a dent or the people that will have to get scraped off the pavement in accident?
I have to say I'm kind of an angry driver, as you've seen. I feel like I'm for cars.
Thank you.
yes.
Sorry.
It's been decided. Sorry, Ross.
Someday, you
God has spoken.
made a powerful enemy this day.
Well, thank you very much
Until next time.
for having. Oh, I don't know why I was asking. Thank
Thanks
you
for having us.
Thank you for having us. No, thank you, Sally. That was really great, and we enjoyed your company. It was awesome.
Yeah, it was great.
Thanks.
Thanks so much. In 2 weeks, Prosers will be back with the venerable. Is that the right word?
Who are you talking about?
Kim
Oh
Barnes.
yeah,
or-
totally.
And also a special show next Thursday. We will be on air.
Oh, that's right. Of course. Next Thursday, we'll just be hanging out, doing our thing.
So tune in.
Also
Not me,
tune
I will
into
be-
that. Ross will be gone.
I'll be planning militant pedestrian actions.
All right. Have a good night, everyone.
Jimmy gonna be a daddy soon. Jimmy gonna start something new. Oh daddy, oh daddy. Oh yeah, oh daddy, oh daddy. Well, it's gonna be a good one. Long road and the obstacles they'll figure it out. We had a load for 6 months. She's showing. She don't know how to take the baby solo. Solo, Jimmy's bone. Oh, yeah, he's gonna take care of what is